Alright, so this is a little log viewing program I have. It kind of helps break things out graphically. Helps looking over some stuff. So when I was looking at it earlier, it was in its spreadsheet form. It was hard to get everything lined up. It does seem like everything looks fine. So some of the major things we need to look at would be air-fuel ratio sensor. This guy here, we're going to want to look at him. Current value as we go to the line boost, calculated load, these are all pretty relevant. Other super important ones are dynamic advanced multiplier, feedback knock, and knock learning. So these two values we'll want to see under 2 or 3. Negative is okay. So airfield ratio want to be about 11 under boost, so that's good too. It does look like at some point during the log, it's kind of hard to tell, but maybe the customer was on the rev limiter. Right here, you'll see where the RPM just is flat. That's not really normal to see in a log, so I would imagine they're on the rev limiter here, and at this point also you'll notice where the airfield ratio sensor is reading off the charts, and that is because it's on fuel cut for a rev limit. So essentially this section right here of data is not useful because it is on the rev limiter. So this data here is kind of sporadic. One thing you will notice though in that range is the fine knock learning does go negative. Just something to pay attention to. So the other spots to look at will be, so this is the boost, so you can kind of see the load is what you would call it also down here. When the load goes up, that's when someone's doing a pull, which would also, you would see the throttle go up. So we'll scroll down here, throttle position. As you can see, throttle position goes full throttle here and there. So if we go back up, also it shows that the injector pulse width is cutting off during the time they're at that RPM, which means that the ECU is trying to cut the injector for the rev limit. So that makes sense. So we'll just look over the boost. Here's a spot where it looks like they're on the rev limiter again. Let's go back down to the RPM. It is a little bit harder to see. We'll click a couple things at it. Just get rid of them off the graph, that way we can see it. Give me a second here. So looks like rev limiter or ignition brake, something's probably 2-step. Then first gear, as you'll notice right here, the air fuels go into the 11s. It's nice and rich. There is another point right here where it seems like it's a shift or rev limit. Probably rev limiter again. It's at 7,000. Kind of hard to tell what's going on without speed. Just give me 1 second here. So throttle position is letting off. And they're going back to full throttle. Air fuel's back to good. Boost pressure's pretty sane. And the timing looks good. We're not seeing any knock at that point. So it does look like the tune was in range of being fine. So the fact that there was a couple rev limiter bounces, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. That's peculiar. And then over here, maybe there is a misshift. I don't know. But looking over it in graphical form and looking over the data, there isn't much that is popping out as being bad. So that being said, you know, after looking at the carnage, I'd have to see some pictures, but maybe it dropped a valve. Maybe it's a mechanical problem, because if it was detonating, you would see that in these two numbers here, the feedback not correction and the fine learning not correction, which you don't see that throughout the pull. So that would show you that there was no knock and the airfields were good. So it does look like the tune's as spot on as you can get, you know, but mechanically, the best tune in the world is not going to fix an over rev. It's not going to fix fuel pump going out. Not going to fix a bad oil pump. You know, there's only so much you can do. So I would I'd put a seal of approval on it that it looks okay. So maybe that helps. Good luck.